Hi, everybody. If you know, I just uploaded a video about Pat Lee, which these two guys know something about.
I had no
Yeah,
idea.
we're here for Mortal Kombat, but we both like Transformers also. So.
Yeah, that's what I said before we started, that we should just do a Transformers stream when we get sick of talking about Mortal Kombat.
I have opinions about Pat Lee. Angry opinions.
Well, yeah,
You were very upset, yes.
I think the biggest problem with Pat Lee is just he did not pay any of his writers and artists what they were owed.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a symptom of the biggest problem with Pat Lee, which is Pat Lee exists.
he was a scam artist. Is the gist of the thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a tragedy because the company was making good comics, and they got cut off in the middle of a storyline.
Yeah.
I had every single one of those issues, all of them, front to back. Once IDW started their run, I got rid of them all out of disgust.
Here's a quote by Simon Furman that I think really sums up Pat Lee. If Pat had been some faceless bureaucrat, it maybe wouldn't now seem like such an acute betrayal. But he looked me square in the eye and said everything's hunky-dory. That's what still, even now, burns.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that Dreamwave was founded in the 90s when all kinds of indies were popping up, and a lot of them were just like one guy starting his own studio. And at first, it was a boom for the comic book industry, the speculator market and all that. You had Image and Wildstorm and Dark Horse and Dynamite, all these, the rising tide lifts all ships. So they had successes out of the gate, and then like 10 years later, it's like, which of these are real studios and which of these are some guy's vanity project? Dreamwave was a vanity project.
Well,
Most
like
unfortunately.
I said, I think the news clip I found, like, it's funny, like Pat Lee, Roger, and his brother Roger, like they're all just playing video games. They're not actually working.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing. I often wonder how he had the money to start Dreamwave and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, apparently they were making millions of dollars, but from just Transformers alone. But Pat Lee was spending most of it on buying really expensive cars.
Yeah. I mean, you get rich quick, and that's what some people do when they suddenly come into money, is they buy a bunch of flashy shit they don't need, and then they end up bankrupt.
It's funny. He spearheaded a movement to write stories about flashy cars, and then used the profits to buy flashy cars.
Yeah. Another quote. Can we get our money?
That's a good quote. I can relate to that.
I want to know about my money all the time.
Well, one of
It's my money, and I want it now.
I'm usually asking myself that question after I buy stupid shit.
Well,
As we sit here, I'm staring at a series of... I'm staring at a single eBay auction for 4K collector's editions of Batman and Batman Returns. Do I justify this $300 to myself?
I mean, that's a lot, but also Batman.
The best Batman.
Yes, our Batman.
Yeah. Well, while we're on the subject of comics, we should mention Deception was going to get a comic, but it was never finished.
Yeah, they released the black and white art.
I think
Of
it's
the
just
first
Baraka
issue?
Free Molina or something.
It's like a collection of, like, they just drew bits from the bios. So, like, Baraka lets Melina out of the dungeon, Sub-Zero finds Kenshi bleeding out and saves him. Noob Saibot teleports into the treasure room and gets smoke.
I think the cover was actually kind of a cool cover. It was like half Scorpion, Scorpion, like half masked and half burning skull.
Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a panel of Scorpion though.
Oh, what could have been.
There may have been a shot of Scorpion, like, standing in the void with the Elder Gods, like, getting his Deception costume.
Well, that's one thing I would have liked. That's one thing I like that they wouldn't bother doing. It's like, how did he change outfits from Deadly Alliance to Deception? The other guys just put him in that outfit.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it has been pointed out that the character of Monster looks so much like Scorpion because he started out as a Scorpion costume, and they decided that it was too different from his usual ninja look.
Yeah. Well,
He's pretty unrecognizable.
I know the character's name is Monster, but I'm going to guess that wasn't his actual name.
No, I think that's just what Shujinko knows him as because he never got his name. That's some monster I encountered. It's not a real
Shujinko's
name.
perspective. We'll never know what the guy's real name actually
was. But like, what I was going to say is that I think the reason that the monster outfit and the Scorpion, the final version of Scorpion's primary are so similar, you can headcanon it as the Elder Gods. That's what the champion wears, so they gave Scorpion that outfit. Because Monster was the previous champion.
I guess, did the Elder Gods just not try again after Shujinko killed Monster or whatever? I
imagine that they weren't necessarily paying attention to the fact that Monster was out of commission.
They're probably like, "Hey, what happened to that last guy we sent?"
Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking through the MK, the Deception comic. It's all the pencil art, but someone did go in and edit in the dialogue boxes, so it has the words.
Okay.
Okay, so it starts with like some shots of like outdoors of an outworldy looking, place, like all the conquesty backgrounds that you see in the people standing in front of in their bio screens, all those kinds of environments. And the dialogue just says, "Yes, it is time again for cruelty. Outworld awakens. I feel them, the warriors, their power. All have a role to play. Some are freed so they may enslave others," and it shows Baraka letting Melina out of the dungeon on this page. The next page is "Some seek peace and find it in violence," and this page is Cobra getting into a fight in an alleyway.
That's a weird choice.
Always choose violence.
Yeah, always feature Cobra. He's the most important character.
Well, wasn't he? I think at one point wasn't he actually called Ben Masters?
He was called Ben, not Masters, but just Ben.
Yeah, his like how Sector and Cyrax during development they didn't have their names yet, so they were ketchup and mustard. Cobra's early name was just Ben. Yeah.
Which made a lot of people thought he was Ken from Street Fighter.
Oh, I mean it's obvious. You see, the thing about Cobra is that he was based on Johnny Lawrence from Karate Kid.
Yeah.
But when you create a guy with long, shaggy blonde hair in a karate gi, it looks like Ken. So they were just like, yeah, he's Ken. Why not?
And you were anyway. Keep going with the comic.
So the next page it says, "Some seek guidance and find betrayal," and this page is Shujinko walking into like a broken down temple that has a statue of the Dragon King, and smashing the statue with a punch. And then the next page is "Warriors die and are healed by each other," and it shows Kenshi like on one knee holding his wounded torso and a hand reaching out to take his, obviously Sub-Zero, but they don't completely show him. If it was in color, you'd probably be able to tell his hand would be covered in ice or bluish, because you see him put his hand on Kenshi's chest and like freeze over his wound, like covered in ice.
Yeah, heals him up.
Yeah. The next page says, "Steel begs for flesh to be cleansed in blood by the hands of a master." And it shows Cabal like wiping blood off his hook swords and sheathing them. So I presume this is like just after he's, got his revenge on Movado or something.
Yeah. I think you can see Movado.
Almost kill you and leave me for dead. Almost kill you and leave you for dead.
I think you can see Movado's dead body in the in Cabal's bio or something.
You can.
Yeah, it's lying on the floor in the background. Yeah.
In a pool of blood.
Yeah. The next page is, "Yes, it is time again for cruelty," and this whole page is just like Baraka hunching over on a mountain, watching some soldiers fight each other. And then the page after that, it says, "Time for Hunters and the Cycle of Death." And this whole page is Nightwolf hunting a bird with his bow and arrow.
Why?
Because
Man's
he's
gotta
got to
eat.
eat. Like, the last panel is him, like, roasting the bird. He's sitting at a campfire.
He doesn't just wake up, go to hell, and become the Sin Eater overnight.
Yeah. And the next page just says the word rebirth. And it shows, this page is actually Draman and Moloch throwing Scorpion into the Solnado. So the page after that shows, like, Scorpion floating in an empty void, and then clouds and the elder gods in their dragon form surrounding him. And then, like, in a flash of light, he's in the Deception costume. Like I said, they've made him the champion of the elder gods. And this page, the caption just says the word purpose.
Okay, can you link that to me in the Discord, on Discord, so I can look at this?
Yeah, I can send it to you. Hang on.
All right, and what else does it show? Like Liu Kang's spirit wandering around, or Dark Raiden, or anything like that?
No, the next page says the past comes to meet the future, and it shows Noob Saibot like melting out of the ground, and then he's like exploring some abandoned castle, and he finds cyber smoke deactivated. The page after that says, "We honor our ancestors," and it shows Sub-Zero carrying the frozen frost to a big, like, set of double doors in a mountainside. And then the page after that, he goes inside, and it's the Cryomancer tombs, and he lays Frost down, and he sees, like, a corpse sitting on a throne wearing the Deception outfit, and so he puts the outfit on. And that one says, "And they give us their wisdom." And then the last is a 2-page spread of Onaga sitting on his throne, and the dialogues, or the narration says, "I have seen it, I have heard it, every moment, every gasp, every whisper. Now it is time for them to hear me." And that's the end of the comic.
Okay. So obviously they wanted to keep things like Liu Kang, zombie form, Dark Raiden a secret.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing is, I don't know if you noticed, but there's events out of order. It shows, like, Kenshi being rescued before Sub-Zero puts Frost in the tomb.
Yeah.
To be very fair, so much happens to Sub.
Oh,
It's hard for us to parse sometimes where his adventures with Frost putting her in the cave stop and where the stuff with Kenshi
we'll get into that, because obviously what we're gonna do next is talk about the events of the bios and endings, and last time we talked about the events of Shujinko's conquest mode, and now we're gonna go through the main plot in the present day. And the thing about Deception is that it is kind of a puzzle to read every bio and ending and then figure out what order they're supposed to go in, because so many of them are canon and so many of them reference each other that there's like an order, but you have to, like, figure it out, because one character will have an ending that happens before another character's bio.
Yeah,
it's a headache putting it all together.
I think we pointed this out that Scorpion's bio says that he becomes champion of the Elgards after Raiden blows himself up, but he tries to stop Shujinko from putting the last Kamidogu down, so clearly there's a continuity screw up there.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
I have painstakingly gone through these bios and endings and actually written down a list of the order things happen in. And there are still some fuzzy spots on the list.
Yeah.
But I guess, should we get into it?
Go ahead.
Okay.
No time like the present.
All right, so the first point on my list, because it's not told to us until Deception, but I'm pretty sure it happens somewhere during Deadly Alliance, is so obviously when we talked about the A, we talked about Movado killing Cabal and stealing his hook swords as trophies, right? And that happened before Movado did any of the things he does in Deadly Alliance, working for Quan Chi and stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
So Deception tells us that after Movado gutted Cabal, Havoc showed up out of nowhere and saved Cabal's life.
Yeah.
And that would have had to happen fast because he was bleeding out. So Havoc meeting Cabal has to have happened before Deadly Alliance.
Yeah, and he heals him up and he tells him, you should reform the Black Dragon.
Yeah. He well, so the thing about the Black Dragon gang and Deception that like people kind of forget or ignore, like they treat it like, oh god, we're just bringing the gang back again. We just got rid of Kano's guys. Why are we doing this again? But Cabal's Black Dragon gang is actually like the only thing the two gangs have in common is reusing the name. It's a completely different like philosophy and purpose, because Kano's Black Dragon gang was organized crime. They were the mob. They were the Yakuza. They sold guns. They sold drugs, human trafficking, gambling, and all of those kinds of things. They were mobsters.
Yeah.
Whereas Cabal's Black Dragon is a series of anarchists.
Yeah, they're actually a terrorist cell. Like, Havoc has convinced Cabal to, he's brought him over to the philosophy of Chaos Realm and basically told him, hey, recruit people and destabilize your society. Bring down the walls, man.
Yeah.
And Cabal, like, a lot of people talk about it feeling like Cabal is out of character in Deception, or this was the start of a trend where Cabal's personality and the things people like about him are wrong or missing in every game post MK3.
They can't decide if he's a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah, they keep turning him bad again, even though the thing that specifically made Cabal cool and made people like him is the idea of a character who in his past is bad, but he paid for it by being horribly maimed, and that experience caused him to turn over a new leaf. He is a story of redemption.
It's that anime arc that everyone loves so much.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember after Deadly Alliance coming out, knowing that, we were gonna eventually see these people one day or another in some way, shape, or form. And like hoping that we were gonna like just take up where we left off with all these missing goons. And when Deception came out and Cabal was revealed to be part of the cast, a lot of us were like, yes, cool, he's on the good guy's side now. The fuck is this what is happening? Why? It was ugly then, it's still ugly now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for me is that I can't stand every time we see him now. He has the burns, he has the scars, he's been through some kind of traumatic injury, but he's still just hanging out with Kano and doing nightclubs and crime shit. Like, he's learned nothing from whatever happened to him, and that's the standard depiction of Cabal we get in everything now. It's in 11, it's in Onslaught, it's in the Cole Young movie.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the thing that bothers me. But Deception, I kind of forgive. Like, I'm not happy about it to have Cabal do a heel turn. But in Deception specifically, I kind of forgive it because the premise is that Havoc has brainwashed him. Like, he's not necessarily acting of his own free will. He's been, he's joined a fucking cult, and it's in his head now,
Yeah, which we've seen happen a lot nowadays.
It's not made overt, but that was always my read on it, was that, like, Havoc worked his mojo on him. Kind of crazied him out a little bit.
I mean, if you try to put yourself in Cabal's shoes, like, he had the bad thing happen, then he turned good, and he did the good deeds in MK3, and he saved the world, and then he decided to become a vigilante and keep fighting crime, And where did it get him? Bleeding out on the ground. And so when some guy who's missing half his face comes by and magics him back together and is like, hey, is this really working out for you?
Shad,
Is-
your screen's getting is like flashing, like it's glitching.
Is it? Can
Yeah.
you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Yeah, you have like a webcam screen activated and it's just black and static.
That's fucking weird. Hang on a second. It shouldn't.
There we go.
There we go.
All right, you were saying, Razor?
Yeah, so like to have Havoc be to him like, hey, think about the events that led you here. Is being part of society really working out for you? I can kind of see how he convinced him to, go down the Joker route. Cabal has had several one bad days.
Yeah, all it takes is one bad day.
He's had at least 2.
Yeah.
Plans for the future become the Joker.
Yeah, so I don't love what they did with Cabal, but I don't hate it as much as I hate the one we keep getting now.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays it's probably like, oh, he looks like a bad guy. He must be a bad guy.
Also, it's nice that his primary costume was his regular outfit. The MK3 stuff came back. Although it had the backpack and the goofy wiggle woggle antenna.
Oh yeah, I think he has the worst line in MK 2021. He says he's about to get his soul sucked.
Can we not talk about that shit, please?
How do you feel about the Brooklyn accent?
Okay, look. At this point, the lack of consistency is probably Cabal's defining character trait. When we eventually do our lost episode, like, at this point, you're just in it for the madness. Why wouldn't he have a Brooklyn accent?
He's so different. Every time we see him, they reinvent the character from scratch every appearance. Nothing stays the same except a guy with a gas mask and hook swords who runs fast.
Yeah.
It's like at one point in this franchise, he was Elvis Presley. Remember that?
Thanks, Warriors. Check out my awesome pinch.
Yeah, he has that cameo he has in Shadow of Monks. It's like, what was the point of that?
How did they get there? How did they?
And Tobias drew that art that it's based off of. According to Tobias, Cabal has no mustache and a shoulder and a chin pinch. It's great. I miss it. I want it back. I mean, it would be horribly scarred off, but I like it.
No, we can talk about that when we talk about Shadow of Monks, I guess, next.
I like the way Cabal looks in the cut parts of Special Forces, like before the scars. He's got his head shaved into 2 like mohawk braid things, and he's wearing
Hawaiian shirt.
The classic 90s sunglasses, the perfectly round John Lennon shades that like the character from Comic Zone.
He looks like he spends time smoking meth in Florida.
Remember it 90s Ghost Rider when Dan Ketch was the writer, but Johnny Blaze was still around as like his mentor, and he was ponytail and those glasses was his look.
Ponytail, those glasses, and a dirty brown trench coat.
That's what I picture when I think of what Cabal should look like before the scars. I see 90s Johnny Blaze, but a brunette.
Dan Ketch was my first Ghost Rider, and I can't help but still think of Johnny Blaze like that to this day.
Yeah, same here.
Well,
okay, so
this is where he recruits Kira and Cobra.
Well, yeah, so like all of that stuff must be happening in the background during Deadly Alliance. That's what Cabal is up to.
Obviously, he fights Movado, I guess, sometime after he tells Susu how to go kill Shang Tsung or something.
Well, yeah, he must have jumped Movado at the end of DA when Movado's parts in that story are over, because Movado has already defeated and captured Kano in order to become Quan Chi's chief general, and because Kano is in the Red Dragon base as an escaping hostage during Armageddon, so that definitely happened.
Yeah. So
so at some point before Deception starts, Cabal is saved by Havoc, recruits Kieran Cobra, comes to Outworld, gets Movado. And the funny thing is, Movado shows right back up in Armageddon. So did he die and get resurrected, or is everybody killing but failing to kill each other in this like repeating back and forth?
The only way it makes sense to me is if I squint my eyes and go, okay, after he cuts them up, he goes, this is what you did to me. You left me to die, but I survived. I'll offer you the same chance. Good luck. Don't get your soul sucked.
you know, that actually thinking of it that way helps a lot. That's much less stupid than me having to ask the question, so do hook swords just really suck at lethal wounds? Like, why do they keep surviving?
Well,
I mean, don't get me wrong. The only way that I parse Su Hao being around in Armageddon is the fact that Motherfucker died and came back to life. He's part of Shinnok's army.
There are factually a lot of villains who come back from the dead in Armageddon. Shinnok is sort of the main villain of Armageddon. Like, Blaze is the guy at the end of the tower, but the plot's all about stuff Shinnok has been doing. So, and Shinnok, has the power to let people out of hell.
Yeah.
So, like, that is definitely a part of Armageddon, that a lot of people who should be dead have been released.
Yeah. One of the things I think is strange is that in Armageddon, both Cabal and Movado have hook swords as their weapon, and they don't explain that.
Yeah, they just didn't want to, change Movado's code or whatever.
They're the Red Dragon. They're a clandestine criminal organization that's been in the shadows. They've got another pair lying around somewhere, I'm sure.
The only reason the developers even gave Movado hook swords in the first place was because Movado's whole gimmick is that he shoots hooks at things. And they thought it was thematic. And then I believe after the fact, someone must have gone, wait, we've already used hook swords. I better write into the story why he has Cabal's swords. That's how I think the order happened. That they gave him that shit first because his gimmick is hooks and they weren't thinking about it.
Like, I think there's another oddity. Like, Dagon uses 2 swords, whereas Tavid only uses 1. The whole point was that he took both swords, and Tavid takes his sword at the end of the conquest. But
yeah, well, there is. So the weird thing about that is that the sword Taven uses doesn't look like the Drake swords. I think it's just a random sword he picked up over the course of conquest mode. But when he does defeat Dagon and take the sword he's supposed to have back, the sword's model doesn't change. It's still the big generic one.
Yeah.
But we're getting way ahead of ourselves. That's for another episode.
Yeah. So I guess we covered everything about. So Cabal is basically what's he doing?
So that's what Cabal is up to. He's fucking ganking Movado. Sub-Zero is laying Frost to rest and getting the Cryomancer armor. That's kind of the first thing Sub-Zero does at the end of Deadly Alliance / the beginning of Deception.
I think what's interesting is Sub-Zero's ending is actually referenced in bios.
Yes, that's the thing. He's one of the characters who has, like, some of the endings happen before bios and some of the bios happen after endings, and they reference each other back and forth, so it's a weird order of operations. Like, you have to finish the game with a lot of characters to learn stuff that would normally be in the attract mode before you even start the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of the first thing Sub-Zero does, is he, buries Frost or laser block of ice on a slab and puts on the armor.
Of course, as Deception, as Unchained would reveal the expansion, Frost somehow gets out of that.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. The interesting thing, though, is just to talk about, like, this is the first time Sub-Zero is learning where his powers come from. Like, as far as he knew, I inherited these from my dad got them from my grandpa. I don't know why our family, our bloodline, has ice magic, but I do know my family are the only people I've ever met who can do ice. So when he meets Frost, the reason he takes her on as a student is because he's so curious and intrigued about the fact that this person who's not a member of his family can do ice. And that's why, when these games came out, how fan theories and speculation is, a lot of people were like, Sub-Zero mythologies mention him having a sister. Is Frost the sister? And it's actually like, no, she can't be. It's important that she's not, because
So
if she
I think
was,
a lot of them were unaware of the whole idea that Sub-Zero had a sister.
well, these are conversations happening on the forums between people who have, are the deep lore guys, the people who have read the mythology stuff.
Yeah.
And that sort of spreads outward from the people who know to the people who read those posts and learn it, and it grows and grows. That's how the lore spreads on the internet. But like, just the idea that she could be or could not be his sister. They actually, in a Fight Night chat room with Mortal Kombat Online, where they talked to the devs after Deadly Alliance came out, Vogel did confirm, no, Frost is not Sub-Zero's sister. And there's two important reasons why she can't be the sister, and why it's important that she's not. Like, it's story relevant that you have to cut off that theory. First of all, if you read the mythology's text, his mom and sister are dead. It's slightly vaguely worded. It says they were never seen again. But the implication is that when the Lin Kuei came to get, or when Sub-Zero's dad took the two brothers away to join the Lin Kuei and train them as ninjas, the mom and the sister were killed. The other thing is that it's important for Frost not to be related to Sub-Zero, because the whole point of the story is Sub-Zero takes her in because he's trying to understand how someone who's not related to him could have the same powers as him. And the answer to that mystery is meant to be him discovering the Cryomancer ruins and realizing, oh, both her and I are the last descendants of this race of Outworld wizards. That explains it. And then he puts on this, the ceremonial armor from one of the corpses in the tomb to, like, honor, his, because Sub-Zero is, like, Kuai Liang's whole character from the beginning has always been about, like, he took the name of his brother to honor his brother and his family. He's always been about, like, carrying on legacies and traditions, or, if there's some part of the legacy and tradition that is bad, like being in the Lin Kuei, a clan of murderers for hire. No, I'm going to reclaim that. I'm going to rehabilitate that. This is part of my history and my family. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take over the clan, and we're not going to be killers for hire anymore.
Yeah.
And that's, the whole central thing about his character. So him finally discovering where it all comes from and wanting to wear that armor to honor them, that fits right in line with everything else he's about.
Yeah.
And also, the armor has magic powers, but I'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of important.
Yeah. So then the Deadly Alliance fights Raiden, and Onaga walks in, and they all, the three of them die, and Onaga gets the amulet. Onaga resurrects the
five heroes.
Yes. Mind controls them to be his bodyguards. It's Kung Lao, Sonya Jax, Kitana, and Johnny Cage.
Who were freshly killed just outside as a result of Bo Raicho running away from an army of Tarkatans, leading them directly into them.
Yeah, like I mentioned, it's basically Bo Raicho's fault they had to fight the Tarkatan.
Dead.
Yeah.
And so one of my big disappointments about Deception is the fact that Onaga, the mummy army, was taken out in Raiden's explosion. There are no mummies left. And the mummies were the whole plot of Deadly Alliance, and they were the whole setup for Onaga's return, and they just wiped them off the board. Onaga doesn't get to use his mummies. I would have loved if he actually got to have the mummies in the game.
Well, I love that little part in the opening where, like, they all kneel when they see him enter the room.
Yeah. Yeah, but something that is revealed here is the Tarkatans, because they had all run out to kill everybody, they were outside the palace when it exploded, so they survived. So Baraka immediately, like, sees, oh, there's a new big guy in town. new leader to follow, and the Tarkatans' whole thing is like they want to align themselves with whoever's the strongest,
Yeah.
because then they'll be the favored race and they'll always be on the winning side of things. There's also kind of like what they imply with the wording in Baraka's bios and endings in Deception. And Deception is kind of the first game to really delve into the Tarkatan race. It's the first time they were called Tarkatans. Like, the term hadn't been invented until Deception. They were just called the mutants of Outworld in previous things, or the nomad race, or something like that. So what's basically either outright described or at least implied across when talking about Baraka and his people in Deception is that they're very animalistic. And so when they're choosing to follow Onaga, it's almost like it's because he's the alpha, you know? They're very, like, driven by instinct. They can be, like, their behavior can be affected by smells.
Like pheromones.
Yeah. Jade's arcade ending doesn't come true, so it's not really relevant, but the events of that ending are that she gets her hands on a bottle of quote-unquote Tarkatan pheromones, and she throws it at Jade, splashes her with it. Tanya. Jade throws it at Tanya, and splashes her with the scent of a rival male, which causes all the Tarkatans around Tanya to attack and kill her.
But it's, I mean, the wording is not, I mean, it just says, I doubt she survived, so there was...
Yeah, but, like, just the idea that, so if all it takes is to smell another male, then how come anytime two Tarkatans are standing next to each other, they don't kill each other? Like, what is
Mating
really in that jar?
pheromones.
It's not just like the smell of another dude's sweat. There's something in there that we don't need to really dig deep into.
Let's just assume Jade cut off some Tarkatan's nuts, liquefied them, and that's what she got.
See,
let's assume.
That's the road that if you go down and it raises questions about Jade. I kind of would prefer to jump to maybe she just found it on a shelf in Shang's flesh pits, you know?
Yeah.
Tidy, neat.
I don't think she should be collecting her own bottle of pheromone.
Well, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because Jade's supposed to... Jade was watching him resurrect the heroes.
Jade was actually... They say that Jade was... She was on her way to meet up with Kitana because she wanted to join the party that would attack the Deadly Alliance, and she was late. But by the time she got there, she was so late that, like, everybody was already dead. But yeah, so Baraka joins Onaga's side and becomes his chief general. Basically, I don't have the mummies, so the Tarkatans will be my chief force instead. And this is, like, the first time, really, that Baraka's gotten to be the main guy in a villain's army. Like, usually it's the Shokan or a Centaur. This is really the big step up for the Tarkatans, where they get to be the main enemy race.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you really think about it, yes, Baraka is in MK Gold. Yes, Baraka is in MK Trilogy. But really, the only two games that he's a full character that the game cares about... MK2 and Deception. So this is, like, the first time since MK2 that they're treating him like he matters. So, you know, good showing for Baraka and Baraka fans, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he recruits Baraka, Onaga does. And then he also, as established in Deception's Conquest mode, the Satan Guardsman Hotaru is in charge of a city in Outworld called Lei Chen.
What's interesting, he sides with Onaga.
When he hears that the Dragon King has returned, he, like, has apparently heard these legends before, and he knows that when the Dragon King originally ruled Outworld was an extremely orderly place. It wasn't all rebellions like it is under Shao Kahn. So he's like, oh, the Dragon King's back. He'll fix this Outworld situation. He's good for this realm. He's the right leader. I'm going to go sign up to fight with him because I'm already in Outworld and helping Outworld is my thing.
Yeah.
So Hotaru is the next guy after Baraka to join up with Onaga. So the next thing that happens is with the Deadly Alliance dead, Quan Chi out of the picture. Noob Saibot, who was working for the Deadly Alliance, I think. I mean, he was definitely working for Shao Kahn before they showed up, so I assume he was also working for them. Noob goes, well, hey, I don't have to take Quan's orders anymore. I can finally do what I want to do.
Yeah.
All my masters are dead. Every single one of them.
Every single one. He's been waiting since he died and became Noob Saibot for this moment, which is weird because Shinnok's not actually dead, but
They all act like
But it does tell you that everyone does believe he's gone.
yeah,
completely.
Whatever happened to Shinnok at the end of 4, he seems to be out of the picture. And then when he comes back in Armageddon, they just pretend he was never gone. But right now, he seems to be out of the picture. So we'll operate from that assumption for the moment.
Yeah.
So Noob is going, hey, I don't have to take orders from anybody anymore. It's my turn to be in charge of the Netherrealm. How am I going to take over the Netherrealm? Now, Noob, I guess, knows, because he's been working for Shao Kahn for a while, what's in Shao Kahn's treasure room. And he knows that the deactivated body of his brother's friend Smoke is in there. And these cyber ninjas, they have nanobots in their bloodstreams. And if he could reprogram those nanobots to take over other people, then he could make himself an army. So he goes down there, reprograms and reactivates Smoke, which is a shame for Smoke because he fought so hard to get free of being programmed in 3, and now he's right back to being programmed. So he takes Smoke down to the Netherrealm with his plan being to have Smoke, infect demons with Smoke's nanites so that they can make an army of cyber demons that will follow Noob Saibot. Now, when he gets down there, this is a little weird because in Ashra's ending, she is supposed to attack and kill Noob Saibot in order to ascend from the Netherrealm, like to finish her quest with her sword to purify herself and get kicked out of the Netherrealm for being not evil enough.
Yeah, but obviously that can't happen because Noob has to confront Sub-Zero.
Yeah, see, here's the weird thing. In Armageddon, Ashra has escaped from the Netherrealm. She has killed something enough to purify herself.
Just a bunch of demons.
But it doesn't seem like she ever fought Noob Saibot. However, the other thing that happens in her ending, the reason she is able to kill Noob in her ending is because Smoke doesn't join the fight, because bringing him to the Netherrealm causes him to malfunction. That part actually does happen. As soon as Noob Saibot brings Smoke to the Netherrealm, Smoke starts glitching out. And the reason he is glitching out, and this is partially meant to have been explained by, like, Smoke was going to have his own bio and ending separate from Noob Saibot's. And I presume the way that would have worked is if you were, they still would have been the tag team of Noob Smoke, but I bet if you were playing as Noob when you beat Onaga, you'd get Noob's ending, and if you're playing as Smoke when you beat Onaga, you would get Smoke's ending. But this was unfinished and not in the final game. However, Smoke's ending is in the crypt.
What's it say?
It says that what's actually happening here is that Smoke absorbs the ambient evil energies of the Netherrealm, and it causes his nanites to malfunction and overrun his body and transform him into his other costume, the nanobot demon. He becomes a cyber demon himself.
In essence, the Smoke's entire unused ending provides context to that one shot of you see him in Ashra's ending glitching out.
Yeah,
it
we see this
the
happening
transition from the cyber outfit to the main cyber demon ninja Garbage Man Pants outfit.
Yeah, the transformation definitely happens because we see it happen, and then we see Smoke wearing his nanite, his smoky body outfit in other endings. So the transformation definitely happened. The cut ending just would have explained why it's happening. Now, the other thing that's interesting to me is it wouldn't be until MK9 that Smoke got a real origin story, like why when he was human Smoke, he had smoke powers.
Yeah.
And the origin story they gave him is that when he was a teenager, he was abducted by a cult and sacrificed to a demon. And the demon possessed his body, and it was a demon made of smoke. That's what an Enenra is. And so the Enenra backstory, I don't know if they intended this, but it seems like it could very easily be backported into Deception to say that when Noob Saibot brings Cyber Smoke to the Nether Realm, the fact that he's always been a demon awakens in him and causes the transformation.
It just works extremely well.
Yeah, it just fits really conveniently. But, so yeah, from this point on, Smoke is Nano Smoke. Yeah. So the next thing that happens is Havoc comes to Outworld, and Havoc's plan is basically just to go to Lei Chen and fuck things up to piss off Hotaru.
Yeah.
But when he gets there, he finds, wait a minute, Hotaru's not even here. Where did he fucking go? Oh, he's working for this Onaga guy now. Oh, that Onaga, you know, fascist dictatorship. That's not good for chaos.
Yeah.
I don't think I want Outworld to be ruled by that guy.
Well, that's the interesting thing. The Order guy is on the bad guy's side.
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
Chaos guy is against him.
Yeah, see, the thing is, Hotaru and Havoc are both neither good guys nor bad guys. They're both neutral alignment characters.
They serve their respective ideologies.
Yeah. Chaos isn't always bad, and law isn't always good. And these two are both extremists, so they will tend towards, like, just extremism in general can be bad. And that's why Hotaru often ends up, you know, appearing to be an antagonist, despite that he seems to stand for law and order.
Yeah.
So this causes Havoc, learning that Hotaru's working for Onaga, and that Havoc deciding, I don't like Onaga. Onaga's bad for things. This is Havoc's motivation to be a good guy for the rest of Deception. Havoc is the person who meets up with Shujinko and helps him gather all of the good guys in the game.
Yeah.
Havoc is Shujinko's sidekick. He's number 2 on Team Good Guy.
What was the source on that? Havoc helping him locate people?
Yeah, it's in the endings, especially like the Black Dragon ones.
Yeah.
Let me go and see. I don't remember Havoc helping him specifically. Which ending?
I'm pretty sure it's in there.
I guess we'll get into this. I think Havoc's ending in Deception actually gives a perfectly plausible way for Shao Kahn to come back. But that kind of ignored.
I would have, you know, the fact that they ended up in Unchained bringing Shao Kahn back, I would have preferred if they had done it through Havoc's ending somehow. I mean, there are some plot hole problems with that, but it would have worked better than what they actually went with.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, because the GameCube.
Okay, here it is. In Havoc's the second page of Havoc's bio, it was I who led the heroes to the location of the Dragon King. The chaos that would ensue from their attack would be a blessing to this realm. Onaga must never gain the upper hand in the struggle. The realm shall never cease their struggle. Chaos will reign forever. So it doesn't necessarily say that he helps gather the good guys. Although the Cabal stuff does say that, like, the reason the Black Dragons come to Outworld is to join up with Shujinko because Havoc told them to. Because Havoc's real plan is once Onaga's down, they're going to backstab Shujinko's team. And he's going to have the Black Dragons do that.
Right, he wants Onaga's heart and shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's orchestrating shit from behind the scenes for his own purposes.
Yes, but the point is that at the very least, Cabal, Cobra, and Kira join Team Shujinko because Havoc told them to.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Something that they never actually get into, though, and I'll get this out of the way right now, is that in that Shujinko ending, where he's absorbing literally everyone's powers, they never specify at any point how the hell Noob and Smoke get there
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, that's
Like
the
you,
weird
you
thing.
you just have to assume that Shujinko ran into them somewhere. Like the whole process of Shujinko gathering the heroes and bringing them all together to face Onaga isn't really laid out anywhere at all. That's the only thing that's really missing.
It's not. That's kind of that's like the if it weren't for the fact that Conquest is the story mode and covers everything before the events of Deception, like what the game is really missing is a story mode in the present day that shows the heroes gathering up to fight Onaga. Like how do they all get together? Because as you say, Noob Smoke's bio and ending don't have anything to do with going to Outworld or getting involved with Onaga's stuff, but we know they're there. Like the Noob Smoke's story stops at bring Smoke to the Netherrealm and take over the Netherrealm. And yet, it is canon that they go to Onaga's palace because Sub-Zero sees them there and follows them.
Yep.
So anyway, back to where we were. Havoc joins up with Shujinko and acts as a guide to him. And these two guys already know each other because Shujinko trained under Havoc, and they sort of get along and understand each other.
So
When Havoc feels like it.
Yeah.
Shujinko's probably like, well, I guess I shouldn't trust you, but right now we're on the same side.
I mean, one of the things I like so much about Havoc is he's always very cordial to people. Other than the fact that he's a psycho and that he likes, violence and will thank you for acting
Punching
chaotic.
him in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's always just really nice and pleasant, personality-wise. Like the way he talks to people.
Like I can
Especially
picture that
Shujinko.
the entire conversation being something along the lines similar to, I don't suppose you would care to help us defeat the Dragon King. I would not, but I will do it anyway, for this is the way of chaos.
I mean,
in fact, want his heart, but I won't be telling you that.
No.
Or will I?
Did I say that out loud?
No.
Chaos.
Yeah, I love Havoc in this time. Why compare it to say
Yeah, well, the thing
Don't
about
do
this
it.
Havoc compared to other Havocs is that this Havoc actually acts like a cult leader. Cult leaders have to be charismatic and good at talking to people and winning them over to their side. They cannot behave like an outright supervillain and attract people who want to attack them, because that's not good for the cult. You want to hold your fucking shit together. You want to keep people on your side. So next we get to Sub-Zero in the Living Forest. Now, here's the thing. Sub-Zero, after burying Frost and getting the armor, he's now on his way to the Deadly Alliance's palace. He doesn't even know that the fight has happened yet. Okay? He's going to meet up with the heroes to fight Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. That's what he thinks he's doing. And on the way there, he passes through the Living Forest. And in the Living Forest, he accidentally stumbles into a whole ass camp of Tarkatans. And it's, one guy against many Tarkatans, and
he figures I'm gonna die here, but
he's like, oh, this is gonna be it for me, but if I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna go down swinging. And at this point, the magic in his armor awakens, and apparently the armor is like possessed by one of his cryomancer ancestors or something. And it basically, it doesn't, I don't want to say it totally takes over his body and fights for him, but it, quote unquote, guides his blows and makes him a better fighter and gives him the ability to wipe out this entire camp of Tarkatans all by himself and survive.
Yeah.
This doesn't particularly lead anywhere, to be
Well-
100% clear. It's meant to show you the impact that this thing has on him.
Yes, it does reveal the importance of the armor, what it can do, but it does actually do one other minor thing that does kind of lead nowhere, but acts like it's going to lead somewhere. So after the bad guys learn that Sub-Zero, one dude, wiped out a whole camp, Onaga assigns Hotaru to hunt down and bring in Sub-Zero. Like, I need you to capture kill that guy because he's a fucking problem. So for the rest of the game, Hotaru is supposed to be hunting Sub-Zero. And there will be problems with this that we'll get to.
The
Yeah.
continuing story of Bungalow Bill, Chapter
Yeah.
19. There's too much shit happening with some of this friggin' game.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Yeah.
parse all of it.
So we'll go back to Onaga. Onaga is, he has all 6 Kamidogu. That's the position he started with. And when the Deadly Alliance and Raiden died, he got his hands on the amulet, which is supposed to be, because it has the powers of an Elder God, it will give him the ability to fuse the 6 Kamidogu into one and make himself the one being, which will wipe out the whole universe. So why hasn't he done it yet? Well, it's because even though he has all the pieces, he doesn't actually know how to fuse them.
Needs some books. Needs to
Yeah.
get learned.
So he finds out that in Edenia, in the libraries of Sindel's palace, there is research that used to belong to Shao Kahn that tells how to fuse the Kamidogu. So Onaga and Tanya go to Edenia, and Tanya's like acting as his guide because she knows her way around and all about the palace and stuff. And
They lock up Sindel.
with Tanya's help, Onaga attacks Edenia, takes over the palace, locks Sindel in the dungeon, and he
Not
has
for the first time.
No, this is actually the 3rd time that Edenia has been successfully conquered by an invading army.
Yeah, they got really bad security apparently.
Yeah, this is a kind of a problem with Edenia and Sindel and Kitana as characters, is whenever they don't know what to do with them, they make them damsels in distress.
Into the dungeon you go.
And I think this is the reason that they just decided to stop using Edenia in the NRS era games, which I kind of hate that, but what can you do about it? So anyway, Sindel is being guarded by her own daughter, brainwashed Kitana.
Yeah.
And Sindel, can't bring herself to attack her own daughter, can't knock her out through the bars.
But Jade can.
Yeah, Jade's okay with it. Jade
We
sneaks
did
into
this
the
stuff
palace.
all the time as kids. Clonk. See?
Yeah. Ever since Jade saw everybody die and watched Onaga and the palace blew up and all that, she's been following Onaga and Tanya. Followed them back to Edenia, snuck into the palace, rescues Sindel. Bonks Kitana on the head, and her and Sindel get out of there. And their plan is to go into Outworld and find Onaga's tomb
And return his soul back to...
Yeah, they want to learn. They believe there is going to be a spell in there that will suck Onaga's soul out of the body he's currently inhabiting, i.e. Reptile, and put it back in its own corpse. And then they can kill the corpse, and defeat him that way.
Yeah.
They never actually get to do this. At some point along their way traveling to Onaga's tomb, they must have bumped into Shujinko and been convinced to join his plan instead.
Maybe, just maybe, if you squint your eyes and you really hope, you could convince yourself that they got the books that they needed, not in the same way that the endings depict.
Yeah.
And before the end of the Onaga fight at the end, were able to cast some sort of spell that permits Reptile's body to live on, like as a backup plan, just in case.
Well, I
Because
think
it seems
I
like
always
terrible
imagine-
waste and a shame
Yeah,
for
that's
their
the thing.
for their endings to meet for their entire story to amount to absolutely nothing. It sucks.
Like that's
Sorry,
the
go
thing.
on.
Like the Sindel's ending is the only one in the game that's 3 pictures long, and what's shown in those pictures is all really good stuff.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a bummer that none of it gets to happen because other characters defeat Onaga their way instead.
Yeah, but anyway, I think. Well, what you could say is that as Shudiko's delivering the final blow, that's when Sindel sucks his soul out from like Reptile into the real body, kills him, and then that's when Nightwolf like sucks him down into the Nether.
Well, that would just be kind of piling on. Like he dies twice. He gets his soul sucked out of 2 different bodies. Is kind of redundant.
Maybe it's like they cast the spell and it would have worked had he not had the Kami Dogu with him. Oh God! But you know what? Whatever residuals of that maybe allowed Reptile to survive. Make it mean something, I would say.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some way to finagle it. But yeah, so while Onaga has control of Edenia, that's when Baraka finds Melina in a dungeon because she fell down a hole at the end of MK Gold, and that's where she's been. And everybody thinks she's dead, but really Katana's been keeping her alive down there. And the question is Katana keeping her down there just like instead of killing her? Because she already came back once, so it's like, oh, killing her is not going to be effective. I'm not going to bother with that. Might as well just keep her contained.
Or does she want to reform her?
Or yeah, does she have any kind of hope that she can fix her fake sister?
This is something I always tended to lean towards the second one. I don't think that Katana is the kind to just cold-bloodedly kill Melina in MK2 just because she can, because she has no feelings for her, because she's I think that Katana killed Melina in MK2 kind of out of self-defense. That's the way I've always looked at it. So that to me is the reason that Melina's still alive down there. She's trying to rehabilitate her, trying to talk to her. The only question is she, like Shang did with Moloch and Draman, feeding her the occasional humans to eat? The answer is probably not.
They don't have to only eat human flesh. Maybe a little chicken once in a while is fine. I think you want the story to be as good as it could possibly be. You want the character connections to be as dramatic as they could be. So we would like to believe that Katana has conflicted feelings about Melina and doesn't just hate her because she's an imposter meant to replace her. Like
because she was supposed to take over her life and she doesn't.
Yeah, like the whole but like Katana knows the reason Melina exists is straight up evil and a threat to her own existence. But they also were raised and trained together for hundreds or thousands of years. They
probably
have
hundreds, considering Shang's lifespan.
Yeah. They have spent longer than a normal human lifespan living as sisters. So there should be more than just blind hate there. The problem is the games don't really say it, except for like in the gold endings, Katana is really, really cold to Melina. Just straight up tells her, no, you're just a decoy of me. You don't deserve to exist. And then still throws her in the dungeon instead of killing her. So, who knows, right?
I mean, you gotta like make her queenly proclamations if you're gonna sit on that throne.
It was in the heat of battle. She was angry in the moment. Maybe she didn't mean it,
Yeah, it's just hard because I think they just took that and just figured, okay, that's how Katana sees Melina in MK9.
But yeah, I think if it was written now, it would be much more dramatic. Whereas I think maybe Tobias saw it as Katana just sees Melina as an existential threat. It's hard to say. But either way, so Baraka discovers Melina down there. Oh, you're not dead. You're in this dungeon. Get out of there.
And
You
he
know,
pretends to be Katana to recruit his.
well, yeah. So the thing, like, Melina and Baraka have a history. Like, 2 and Trilogy both implied that these two be boning behind the scenes.
They did it, and it was gross, and everyone in the castle heard it.
But yeah, so there is an existing connection between Baraka and Melina. So Baraka offers to Melina, "Hey, you work for Onaga now, and you don't get a choice. This is just, if I'm letting you out of the dungeon, this is what you do now. But here's what we want. We have Katana captured. So if you dress like her and infiltrate her army and pretend to be her, you can lead that army into a trap, and, you know, we can get them." So that's what
You're giving me the chance to do everything I've literally ever wanted to do for free.
Yeah, Melina's
in exchange for getting out of prison.
Melina's
Where do I sign?
All she's ever wanted was to steal Katana's life, and this is where she finally actually does it. Now, the thing is, Katana... So the endings show Katana wearing a blue version of Melina's primary costume.
Yeah.
But it kind of feels like Onaga put her in that, and that it's not what, like... I don't think Katana came to the fight wearing that outfit. I don't think the Edenians will recognize that outfit. Especially not when she shows up in a pink version. And the veil is see-through, like it's translucent. You can see the teeth.
Just don't think about... This is one of those don't think about it too hard moments.
But the text says the Edenians fall for it because they think Melina is dead. They assume it's not possible for her to still be around and pretend to be Katana. And, we're just supposed to pretend that her teeth are not visible through the mask.
Yeah. And... Well, speaking of this is basically, I guess we should go back a little bit. Liu Kang's soul was set free, after
yes, when Shang Tsung was exploded by Raiden, when the Deadly Alliance died, Liu Kang's all the souls Shang Tsung has ever stolen are set free. The Great Kung Lao is free. They don't talk about it, but it must have happened. Everybody who's ever died, Shang stole their soul, finally goes free. Shang Tsung has died for the first time. This includes Liu Kang. Now, normally, when you die, your soul either goes to heaven or hell. In Liu Kang's case, it would obviously be heaven.
But he decides not to go.
If your willpower is strong enough and you have unfinished business in the world, you could become a ghost, right?
Yeah.
You can, refuse to be carried away to the afterlife and just float around in soul form.
And brother, Liu Kang has unfinished business.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well,
he's got a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, he knows Onaga's enslaved his friends, and he wants to save them. That's
I mean, he was around when it all happened. He was either inside Shang Tsung or floating nearby after Shang died. He's seen the events. So Liu Kang goes out and he looks for allies, and the specific ally he's looking for, because Ermac has powers that would be useful to what needs to happen. Now, I don't remember I think we talked about this when we were talking about Deadly Alliance, that Ermac has met Kenshi already, and he was working for Shang Tsung under mind control at the time, and Kenshi's the one who freed him, and now Ermac is a good guy.
I guarantee we covered that, because it's one of the single coolest things Deadly Alliance gave us, and whenever the topic of Deadly Alliance's plot comes up, it inevitably must too.
Right. So Ermac has been wandering the wastelands of Outworld, sort of looking for opportunities to do good deeds and redeem himself. Their selves. And there's Ghost Liu, and he's like, "Hey, you're psychic, right? I need somebody with psychic powers to free my friends from brainwashing."
Yeah.
And Ermac's like, "I have so much guilt, let me help you.
Yeah.
Please, anything."
So Ermac and the ghost of Liu Kang are on their own path to going after Onaga.
But Liu Kang also has a second thing he's got to take care of.
Well, that can't happen until I get to some further points.
Yeah, we'll get to necromancy in a little bit.
Yeah. So in Edenia, Onaga and Tanya find the research that they were looking for, and they're going to bring it back to Outworld. And when they're in the Nexus, traveling from Edenia back to Outworld, this is interesting because in Scorpion's ending, Scorpion attacks them and
in the Nexus
kills Onaga, even though Onaga has the Kamidogas and should be invincible. This ending does obviously
psycho pressures through his chest.
Yeah. This ending obviously can't happen. It's not canon. But I wonder, Scorpion. So Scorpion was thrown into Solnado, carried up to the Void, and in the company of the Elder Gods, he watched the end of Deadly Alliance at the beginning of Deception. He knows all about Onaga, and he's been appointed the new champion, and his mission is to stop Onaga before Onaga can become the One Being. So I feel like he must have actually attacked him in the Nexus. He just lost the fight,
or Onaga slipped away or something.
Something like that. I
missed
questioned, like, is Champion of the Elder God Scorpion supposed to be strong enough to bypass the Kamidogu's invincibility and kill Onaga? I don't think so. That doesn't really make sense.
Considering that Shujinko beats him alone.
Well,
Shujinko's a really skilled guy, I'll give him that.
Well,
yeah, but Shujinko can't actually hurt Onaga until he smashes the Kamidogus first, though.
That's what I'm getting at. Shujinko wins against Onaga because he knows how to take care of him.
It also absorbs all the powers of all the fighters present.
Yeah, he has, including Scorpion. So whatever power Scorpion has, if it can beat Onaga, Shujinko has that and more.
But we don't. But we're not there yet.
Not yet. So, yeah, I wanted to bring up that fight because I feel like that fight must have happened. Otherwise, what the fuck is Scorpion doing the whole story?
Yeah,
being late.
Yeah. Everybody's just always kind of late to things. Which brings me back to Sub-Zero, who, after that fight with the Tarkatans in the woods, finally gets to the Deadly Alliance Palace and finds out, oh, it's been destroyed. I was too late. The fight already happened. What the fuck?
Where he finds Kenshi.
Where is everyone?
Yeah, this actually probably should have been mentioned much sooner because Kenshi's been bleeding out on the floor for a while, if you treat the way I'm reading things as though time is passing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sub-Zero saves Kenshi's life, and the two of them decide, okay, well, what we both came here to do is done. I guess we go home, right? And so the two of them travel together to find the portal back to Earth.
But they don't know about Onaga yet.
No, they haven't. Well, see, that's another thing. When Sub-Zero was fighting the Tarkatans, the last one to die said the words, "Long live the Dragon King."
Yeah.
As those were his dying words. So Sub-Zero has like a hint that something weird is going on. Somebody new is in charge around here. But he doesn't know what any of this means yet. So him and Kenshi start to go home. And they are being pursued by Hotaru.
Who is also being pursued by Dairu.
Yeah, we haven't got to that yet. So Dairu...
Meanwhile, in Order Realm...
So Dairu is being hired by Darius to assassinate Hotaru so that Darius can get up to some shady shit in Order Realm without Hotaru being around to stop him. Which is a weird thing to care about because Hotaru's been living in Outworld for years. He really wasn't around.
I want to point out that, I think the endings state that Hotaru stalks Kenshi and Sub for days.
Yeah, he's hunting them while they're traveling to the portal, just all across the landscape of Outworld. Just days and days of him, picking up the trail and following the footsteps, and meanwhile they're sitting at a campfire and getting some sleep before they hit the road the next day and all this stuff. It's like the middle part of Lord of the Rings, this cross-country fucking chase. But so in the endings, if the cool thing had been allowed to happen, Hotaru was supposed to attack their camp at some point once he finally finds them. And he was going to, like, shoot his lava powers, make a big flash of light to blind them so that he could attack them and kill or capture Sub-Zero.
But obviously, it doesn't work on Kenshi.
Kenshi is blind, so Kenshi would fucking gut Hotaru.
Vivisect the guy.
Or the other thing that could have happened is Dairu gets to Hotaru and kills him before Hotaru could get to Sub-Zero and Kenshi. Here's the problem. Neither of those things happen. Hotaru, Darius, and Dairu are all just in Armageddon, and there's no indication that a fight with Sub and Kenshi ever happened. Like, what happened? Where did Hotaru... He just disappeared from this thing that Onaga gave him to do? Here's my theory. So in Darius's ending, Darius's whole thing, he's the weirdest character in Deception because he has nothing to do with Onaga or the plot at all. He never gets involved.
He sends Dairu to, like, steal a declaration of order. That's it.
Darius in Deception has the plot line that an NPC would have. He just sends other people to do things, and most of those things don't involve the main plot. But yeah, so in his ending, he steals the Declaration of Order, which is like the most important legal document. It's the government document of Sado. And so, this is, Hotaru has to come after him to get the declaration back. So the best thing I can figure to explain why the fight with Sub and Kenshi never happened, or the fight with Dairu never happened, is that at some point in his travels while he's hunting Sub and Kenshi, Hotaru gets a message like, emergency, return to Sado, the declaration's been stolen, and he drops what he's doing and goes back home. Which is disappointing as fuck, because it means the fight doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But it's the only thing I can figure.
I want to point out, when Shujinko is absorbing all those powers at the end, Sub-Zero is there.
Yes.
Sub-Zero is there. Is Kenshi here? I'm looking around.
Right, is Kenshi?
I don't see Kenshi, actually.
There are some members of the cast who just aren't in that crowd shot because it's already so big.
They could be off screen, but like Dairu and Darius are not present, and neither is Hotaru.
No. What I think happened is that, Hotaru fucked off, and Darius is in Sado, and Dairu followed Hotaru back to Sado. So those three went back home because they're having their own thing, and they just are no longer involved in the Shujinko versus Onaga stuff.
They cameoed.
But
that's it.
Sub-Zero and Kenshi, before they get to the portal home, bump into Shujinko and are told about the Dragon King and what's going on, and they join the team. That's what I figure.
Same. Shujinko has to do a lot of running around.
The thing is, Sub-Zero doesn't just have to be on Team Shujinko because he's in the picture. Sub-Zero has to be there because it's canonically where he sees Noob and Smoke and follows them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Outworld, Bo Raicho is, the armies of Edenia are now at war with Onaga and his Tarkatans.
Yeah.
And Bo Raicho and Li Mei are part of that army. He rescued Li Mei at the end of Deadly Alliance, and he's now taken her on as a student in the martial arts. And the two of them are assisting in this rebellion against Onaga. And Li Mei, ever since Shang Tsung tried to put her soul in a mummy, when her soul returned to her own body, some piece of the mummy came with it, and her personality is starting to change, and she's resisting that. And what it's specifically trying to do to her is make her loyal to the Dragon King.
I keep thinking about bad dragons, and I know I shouldn't.
And so Li Mei is, she's fighting against this internal urge to take his side. But you can see in her costume design how it's influencing her. She's starting to dress more like a mummy in her alternate, and she's wearing a dragon wings shaped bra in her primary. So she's getting real into dragons in an uncomfortable way.
Uh-huh.
And I want to come back to that when we get to Onaga's defeat, because I have some questions about her role in Armageddon. But so that's where she's at right now. But Bo' Right Show is having this meeting with the forces of, you know, the Outworld Resistance and the Edenians, who've been hanging around since they were fighting Shao Kahn. You know, the ones that are supposed to be being led by Kitana, but are currently being led by Pink Kitana.
No
I have a
relation.
question, actually. Are we supposed to assume it's not canon that Kitana only ever wears the color blue? Like, is that just like people never notice the Power Rangers in their civilian identities always wear the same colors?
It's okay to have favorites. I wear nothing but black clothing all the time.
Yeah, no, I just want to know if we as an audience are supposed to believe that
Well-
if Kitana were to one day wear a green dress, nobody would think it's weird.
Well, actually,
Because
remember-
her
People would
showing
think
up
it was
in,
Jade.
her showing up in a pink bikini with needle teeth under her veil, nobody questions it. That's all. I'm just making the point. People completely fall for Melina's disguise. 100% believe this is Kitana. I also like that Melina usually talks with a monster voice, but 11's intros did introduce the idea that she can do a fake Kitana voice. Like, she's able to ventriloquist that shit.
Yeah.
So Melina, pretending to be Kitana, puts Bo' Right Cho in charge of the army, specifically because she thinks Bo' Right Cho is an idiot, and his incompetence will make it easier for the Tarkatans to defeat them.
I mean, he did get all of his friends killed. She might have heard through the grapevine about that.
Well,
Yeah.
I think she's assuming it because he's a fat alcoholic, but
She would make that assumption, yes.
yeah. So Bo' Right Cho is now leading this army, and this army has a big battle with the Tarkatans at some point.
Well,
And-
before that, he's visited by the spirit of Liu Kang.
Yes. So they go into this big battle, and this is like the biggest battle outside Onaga's palace. Like, this is the eve that the heroes are going to fight this, and once they get past the Tarkatans, they're going to march into the Dragon Mountain Temple and defeat Onaga. This is the big one. So presumably Shujinko and the team he has assembled are also there, which should include Sub-Zero and Kenshi, Jade and Sindel, Havoc, Cabal, Cobra, and Kira.
Has he? Maybe he's met Scorpion at this point or something. Or what do you think?
Scorpion might be there. I presume if Scorpion did fight Onaga in the Nexus, lose that fight, he would have figured, well, now I've got to figure out a new plan. I can't take him one-on-one. Maybe Scorpion would be smart enough to go get allies.
Scorpion's position in the ending is very prominent. He's the closest
Yeah.
person to Shujinko.
The weird thing, though, is that Scorpion is not accustomed to accepting or being interested in help or alliances.
Yeah.
He's always been very, very solitary and wild-cardy, but he has to have joined the team. Ermac and Liu Kang's ghost are probably Liu Kang's ghost shows up prominently in a moment here. But I just want to make sure. Yeah, one thing we didn't talk about is the recruitment of Kira and Cobra, because
It's a thing that happened. We kind of glossed over them.
yeah, we did just
But,
kind of skip straight past because they're not that interesting of characters. But I do think one thing about Cobra is interesting. So the premise of Cobra as a character is that he's this guy who took karate growing up, and he's always like, oh, I've always wanted to be in a real fight and see how good I could do. I'm tired of just sparring. So he starts getting into like back alley brawls and street fights for money. And then at some point he kills a guy and he's like, oh man, what a rush. I want to do that again. And so, he starts like killing muggers and doing kind of a vigilante thing, but that's just kind of an excuse to kill them, and eventually he gives up on having an excuse and becomes a straight serial killer. He's just getting into fights with any rando who will do it. He ends up arrested by the NYPD. And this is where Cabal and Kira show up. He's in the back of a squad car cuffed. And, he hears the cops getting into a fight outside the car. And he's let out of the car, and he's like, oh, there's Kira and Cobra. They've killed the cops. They're setting him free. They've heard about how good a fighter he is, and they want him in the gang. Now, the reason I bring all this up is because Curtis Stryker has a weird cameo in Conquest Mode. And the cameos... Any part of Conquest Mode that's not a main story mission is basically not canon. But I am intrigued by the potential of this Stryker cameo. Because when Stryker shows up in Armageddon, I don't know if he's still a New York cop or not, but he's dressing like a member of Bryan Singer's X-Men. He seems to have adopted a more... tactical vigilante guy image to suit the fact that he's coming to fight at the pyramid.
It's like he just decided to bring along a lot of SWAT gear.
Yeah.
Pro-grade SWAT gear.
But, Stryker, I think, got a raw deal in the old timeline where they didn't want to use him because he wasn't popular in 3.
Oh, yeah, he was probably the most hated MK character at the time.
And, there are weird teases of Stryker in other places. Like, the main menu of Deception will flash, there's, words and names that show up in the clouds on the main menu screen, and they're supposed to be just weird little Easter eggs or hints to things that don't exist, like Boone trolling us, basically. And one of the names, the names Fujin and Stryker will just occasionally appear in those clouds.
Well, I think Fujin was supposed to be in this.
Fujin almost made it in the game. When they released the GameCube version, they were going to add 2 more characters. And they had a poll on, I think it was Mortal Kombat Online's website, on their forums.
It was.
Not MK Online. Not MK Online. MortalKombat.com. The official Midway forums is where they had this poll.
Yeah.
And in the poll, Fujin and Kintaro were options. Shao Kahn and Goro won, and that's why we got them. But they shouldn't have, because their stories kind of ruined both characters.
I remember it a different way. I remember that Fujin and Kintaro actually won, but they went with Goro and Shao Kahn anyway, because they thought they were more recognizable.
True.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which...
why even have a poll if you're going to ignore it?
Just like how I remember with the MK9 website, they had polls for which character would get spotlighted on the website, and then they just they had Shao Kahn, and then at the last moment they swapped him out and put Shang Tsung in.
Yeah. So the reason I bring all this up is because I think it would have been a good time to bring Stryker back, and an easy way to do it if you tried to let's be honest, Kira and Cobra are really filler. They don't really do anything in Deception. They don't really do anything in the franchise.
You did kind of skip directly over recruiting Kira and went to recruiting Cobra. Kira developed a bit of a reputation as a weapons smuggler and dealer. She's been running arms in Afghanistan, disguising herself as a dude, and so she's approached by Cabal with this offer. So she's the first person he recruits.
Yeah, they try to do an interesting thing there to make Kira sound like a badass. The idea that she's in the part of the world that is most dangerous for women, pretending to be a man in order to do her business. That, that's the length she will go to for crime or whatever.
That's
And
the
they
most
also-
she's ever gotten, really, and it's a shame
Yeah.
we never got more of it.
And they characterize Kira specifically. Like, Kira is like the poster child for what the new Black Dragon is trying to be. Like, Cabal, is it because he's an anarchist now? But he specifically says he wants the most disciplined people, because the previous Black Dragon gang, the reason they failed and were taken down is because they were too sloppy and they were just a bunch of like dumb thugs doing whatever they wanted to do. So he wants people with like military discipline to make up his anarchy terrorists. And that's why he picks Kira, because she's the most disciplined criminal he knows about.
And then he forgets everything he just said and hires the first serial killer he finds.
Yeah, what the fuck is discipline about Cobra? But what I think they could have made Cobra a more interesting and important character if they used him to bring Stryker into the game. Because, like I just said, the Black Dragon gang kills a pair of New York cops in order to recruit Cobra. Stryker is also a New York cop. Stryker knows Cabal. They have history from working together in MK3. So I think it would have been interesting if Stryker heard about this, Cabal killing cops and was like, oh, I got to do something about that. And maybe he finds out that Cabal is working with this guy from Chaos Realm. So he does some research, like, what's the opposite of Chaos Realm? I've never even heard of all this stuff. Somebody magical. Like, Fujin, explain to me what's going on. And Fujin's like, well, the opposite of Chaos Realm is Order Realm. And they're, enemies with fight each other all the time. Order Realm. Order Realm is ruled by this army of cops, you say? And so he goes to Order Realm to get training, and that's why he comes into Armageddon with a new look and gear, and he's all, trying to be more badass.
But we don't.
I mean,
that's as good as
none of that. This is all just me making up a fan fiction because I think Stryker should be in the game.
You're taking this partially also from Conquest, because that's exactly why his Conquest NPC is an Order Realm. He wants to learn how to be like a Satan guardsman.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That I would like that cameo to be canon and for Stryker to be on the roster, because I've always kind of wanted to see them rehabilitate him, like they eventually did do in 9. But the potential was always there. But yeah, I just it's so disappointing that Kira and Cobra suck so much, I guess is where this is all coming from. But yeah, so Shujinko has his team, and Bo Raicho and Melina pretending to be Katana have their army, and they're going to fight the Tarkatans. And the eve of the battle, morale is not great. But the ghost of Liu Kang appears before Bo Raicho and gives him a pep talk. And is like, look, you gave me the training I needed to save Earthrealm. I'm going to give you what you need to save Outworld. I'm going to pay it back.
Now the student becomes the master.
And so, when the battle happens, Liu Kang uses his ghost powers to basically buff the Edenian and Outworld army.
Because you see him in the background of that picture.
Yeah, no, like his ghostly face is floating over the battlefield. It's like the Jedi power of battle meditation he uses to make them fucking fight better. And so the Tarkatans are defeated. And when they are defeated, Melina goes, well, I was gonna betray these guys and, lead them to ruin, but they're actually stronger than the other team. And technically, I'm in charge of the winning side right now. Why should I give that up?
Wait, who knows that it's actually really me behind that mask?
Yeah.
Must eliminate witnesses.
Yeah, Baraka knows that I'm not Katana. I'm gonna have to get rid of him.
Well, I want to point
he was good and bad, but too bad, so sad.
But Baraka's aware. But one thing I want to point out, I think this fight, Melina versus Baraka, was the first thing shown of deception.
Yes, it was actually.
Yes, it was.
So the Baraka, Melina wants to get rid of Baraka because Baraka knows. Baraka is now pissed off at Melina because she was supposed to, feed him an easy fight. Like she was supposed to give him the Edenian and Outworld army on a silver platter, and he got his ass kicked. She has betrayed him. She has turned against Onaga, and she must be taken down. So Baraka goes to fight Melina, and Melina goes to fight Baraka, and they meet up in the Beetle Shrine stage of the game, which is not relevant to the lore any time but this fight. And the fight between them was animated and is the first footage we ever saw of Deception. Like, they used this animated fight as the promotional material when they announced the game. And it's in all the commercials and stuff. But the weird thing is, I don't know if this fight canonically happens because both of these two are alive in Armageddon.
Well, Baraka's ending, if I'm remembering right, says that he knows that she's going to try to ambush him.
Yes.
So he sends a dude dressed like him in his place.
Yeah, so the game is actually like acknowledging the fact that right now all Tarkatans look alike.
Yep. So that could have happened that way. Maybe the dude thinks Baraka is dead, goes on a merry way, eventually meets Shujinko.
Yeah, I mean, the full version of that ending is Baraka sends the decoy. Melina kills the decoy. And as she's walking out the door, Baraka stabs her dead.
Yeah, he gets her.
Now, the part where he stabs her dead can't fucking happen. So maybe there was a fight and Melina just got away from the real Baraka or some... Who knows?
Maybe Shujinko interrupted them.
There is a hole here. But, Melina goes back to leading the Edenian army pretending to be Kitana. And Baraka never gets his revenge. He also hears about Sub-Zero having killed that horde in the woods, and he wants to do something about that, but he never does. But yeah, so the Tarkatans have been defeated, and the armies are now marching on Onaga's palace. So, once they get inside the palace, Ermac fights all 5 of Onaga's bodyguards by himself, 5-on-1.
Johnny Cage, Kitana,
Kung
Lao, Jax.
Yeah. And
I'm forgetting.
It's Ermac.
Sonya Blade.
Sonya, right, that one.
Sonya, Jax, Johnny, Kung Lao, and Kitana. Yes, all 5 of them. Ermac fights them at the same time and wins.
But he's really just distracting them so Liu Kang...
Well, yeah, he's basically just holding them back so all the other heroes can get to Onaga. And he's also, not trying to knock them out. He's just trying to keep them busy so that Liu Kang can, one by one, use his new ghost powers to unbrainwash them.
Well, it looked like, he does free Kitana first, I think.
Yeah, he's, shooting beams out of his eyes into theirs.
Yep. Yeah. Unbrainwashed beams.
Yes. Yeah. So the bodyguards are freed, and then they join Team Shujinko to go
obviously
confront.
They have the heartwarming reunion.
I think that we should break here for a moment and remember something else. Because we're getting to that point now. Somewhere, Nightwolf is having supper.
It's true.
Well, Nightwolf is in the Nether realm.
Nightwolf is on his whole own quest that we're about to get to.
Nightwolf has not been involved with any of this shit at all so far.
No, he never even goes to Outworld. He goes... So Nightwolf, out in the, I don't want to say Matoken. Out in his
people's lands.
His people's lands.
It's
a reservation. Fine. He's chilling, minding his own business, meditating and doing his thing. And he has, visions and premonitions. And he foresees the threat of Onaga becoming the one being. And
visions, premonitions, plot contrivances.
Yeah.
I must do something about this.
Yes. So he comes up with his own plan, which Nightwolf's plan requires a lot of knowledge about Onaga and the fact that he's possessing reptiles. So that these are some pretty good visions he's been having. These are some very detailed dreams.
He's maybe seeing everything.
Maybe.
These are potent dreams.
So Nightwolf's plan is to go to the Netherrealm and cast a spell that will suck Onaga's soul out of Reptile into the Netherrealm and then trap it down there. But to do this plan, to even get into the Netherrealm in the first place, Nightwolf has to have sin, which he doesn't. Nightwolf is such a good person, he can't actually travel to the Netherrealm under normal circumstances.
It says he takes the sins of his ancestors.
Yes, he does. He does what is called a sin eater ritual, which is not actually Native American in origin in real world folklore, but that doesn't matter. It's fiction. We're doing.
I do gotta say, the sins of his people. What are those? It's just a thing to sound cool.
It's just, every person has a little bit of, bad here and there. Like they're steal a little money here or there. They,
we've all done bad things.
A little too mean to somebody. Maybe they accidentally hit their wife while they were drinking.
But we're all human. We all make mistakes.
Nightwolf, how did you gain the power to help us save the world? My ancestors touched themselves at night.
So what Nightwolf actually does, the way the Sin Eater ritual works is, he gets... I presume he has to get other members of his tribe in one place for this, and he can't just cast a spell out across a giant tract of land and everybody's in their homes. But whatever he does this ritual, and it sucks the sin, like the negative energy and the taintedness out of the souls of everybody in his tribe and into himself. And it makes him presumably,
sufficiently corrupted to enter the Netherrealm.
Evil enough to get into the Netherrealm, yes. And the point, we're at a point in this story that I have something that disappoints me, and it's that the story does not at all explore how this affects Nightwolf and how it changes his personality or, how he deals with whatever temptations being evil might bring. Like, apparently he's just perfectly fine. He can totally handle it. So
I'm
Nightwolf,
somewhat upset.
Yeah. So Nightwolf, now filled with sin, is able to portal to the Netherrealm, and I do wonder how he does that because Nightwolf can't make portals, and all the portals on Earth have been destroyed. I guess he gets a boat to the one of sorcerers and deities.
Maybe Fujin gave him a hand. Fujin's got to be doing something.
Perhaps. So Nightwolf travels to the Netherrealm. And he finds a nice, empty spot, nice secluded area where nobody will bother him.
Yeah.
And he draws a big, red rune in the sands on the ground, and he does his magic. And the idea is that when he casts the spell, and it sucks Onaga's soul out of Reptile into the Netherrealm, Nightwolf will then release all the sins he absorbed, and these sins will become magical chains that weigh Onaga down to the ground and trap him in the Netherrealm and prevent him from escaping. And the thing is, Nightwolf succeeds. Technically, Nightwolf is the winner of Mortal Kombat Deception. His ending is how Onaga is defeated.
Well, I think it's a mix of both Shujinko and Nightwolf.
Yes, it is. It is.
It's the thing we tell ourselves to make everything make sense.
But the thing is, Nightwolf beats Onaga's ass. He was going to kill him. He just doesn't get the chance because then Nightwolf does his thing.
Yeah.
And if Shujinko had killed him, then Reptile would be dead too. So Nightwolf saved Reptile's life.
Just squint, tell yourself the stuff that Sindel and Jade did mattered. None of them would have been able to get through the power of the sheer power of all the Kamidogu gathered together, united all. Then it makes sense.
Yeah.
All
But before that, the bodyguards have been defeated. Everybody's gathered around Shujinko, and Shujinko absorbs all their power to make himself strong enough. Gets everybody's special moves at once to make himself strong enough to destroy the Kamidogus and then defeat Onaga. And I want to point out, as we were talking about all the people gathered in the gathering scene, Noob Saibot, Smoke, or at least Smoke for sure is there, Sub-Zero's there, etc., etc. Mocap and Stryker are there. So this goes back to me wanting Stryker to actually be in the game.
I was waiting for you to get to it.
Yeah. But also Mocap. What's he been up to? How did he get there?
I told you last time, man. I 100% believe that Mocap was running around with Johnny through the entirety of Deadly Alliance, lost as fuck. And I think it's an unstated fact that when everyone died, he was there too, and that Onaga had him mop floors.
Well, we don't see him in the opening, so...
Yeah, wherever Mocap was when Johnny was getting killed, Mocap, I think he was late to that fight. He didn't make it in time either. A lot of people were on their way to that palace and just a few minutes late to see it blow up. But anyway, before Shujinko actually fights Onaga, there's one last thing I want to address, one ending that may or may not have happened. So Li Mei, as I said, trying to resist the mummy urge that has been bonded to her soul to be loyal to Onaga. Li Mei is 99% out of 9 out of 10 times she's shown in a thing a good guy character.
Yeah.
But Li Mei is in the Nether Realm when we see her in Armageddon, and we don't know how she got there. And Li Mei is also an incredibly boring character who, if you ignore this deception storyline, has nothing. The only interesting thing about her is the idea of this temptation she is fighting. And does she succeed or fail?
And they don't. It's hard to say because we never got her bio.
They never address it. What she's been up to since we last saw her when she's in Armageddon. She's in the Netherrealm, and the her that's in the Netherrealm might not even really be her. It might be an illusion Shinnok created. But why did Shinnok create an illusion of that specific person? Why is Li Mei important enough to him that he knows her and is able to create a believable scenario that Li Mei would be in the Netherrealm attacking him?
Why her? Why Kintaro? Why any of these people?
Yeah. Most of these people had a good reason to be illusions that Shinnok created. And the reason being that these are people that are usually in the Netherrealm because they're currently dead. But is Li Mei dead? How did she get dead? Well, her deception ending, which may or may not have come true, features her failing to resist the temptation, falling in love with Onaga, and taking his side against Team Shujinko. Now, in that ending, her and Onaga win, and she becomes his wife, which, if he becomes the one being and erases the universe, I think she'd cease to exist too, but we don't need to go that far.
Yeah.
Thinking about it. Obviously, Onaga loses here. So if Li Mei did give into the temptation and switch sides, they may have had to kill her which would explain why she's now in the Nether Realm trying to do good deeds and fight Shinnok to redeem herself.
But we don't know that for sure.
But we don't know that for sure. I just think that if that doesn't happen, Lee May has fucking nothing. And her story goes nowhere.
Yeah.
I have ideas, because as we'll talk about when we get to Armageddon,
All right.
there's a metric shit ton of open space to work with, and I think that you can work Lee May into the events that are taking place. Specifically, the stuff that Shang and Goro are up to. But
Okay.
we'll get there another time.
Right. So
Well, Shao Kahn and Goro, I figure, just chilling, waiting to see.
I wanted to get to Shao Kahn and Goro last because there's these characters
we
that
hate
were
it
adding
so much.
GameCube, and then there
It's
were characters that
terrible.
were added in Unchained.
All right.
And
It's so bad.
yeah.
But you got to get it out of the way.
I just
All right. What were we
So
going to say
she-
then?
So Lee May, whether she turned or not, Shujinko then, he absorbs the powers, he gets the rainbow punches, he destroys the Kabidogus, which I guess that means they're not unbreakable like Shinnok's amulet is. I also
You've
what
absorbed a
is
lot
it,
of power over the years.
what does it mean for reality if you break the Kabidogu? I guess the Kabidogu were already broken because the backstory is that they are the 6 broken shards of what was once a single weapon. So he's just smashing them into even more pieces. But, smashing them robs Onaga of their power. He is no longer invulnerable to harm. And Shujinko is able to beat him almost to death until Nightwolf sucks the soul out and Reptile is saved. So Nightwolf, having completed his ritual, the sin is no longer in him. It has become part of the rune that's trapping Onaga. Nightwolf is forcibly booted out of the Nether Realm, like Ashura was at some point.
Just whoop, up you go.
Yeah,
out.
just returns home. The interesting thing to me is we talked about how we would have preferred Shao Kahn to come back and how we would have liked it to be Havoc using the heart to resurrect him. But since Reptile is free, there is no heart to eat. So Havoc can't get Onaga's resurrection powers. I have a workaround for this. I think they could have said that Havoc scoops up the broken pieces of the NetherRealm Kamidogu and uses that for resurrection magic. I think they could have just
But
done
for
that.
posterity, this is not what happened.
No, that is not what happened.
We have to just
Wish it had been.
because
Just
according
what-
to Deception, Shao Kahn saw Quan Chi and Shang Tsung's attack coming, and he made a Doom bot, which
Yes,
is what they actually killed.
He has a magic item that created a decoy of himself to sit on the throne while he slipped out of the palace. So when Quan Chi and Shang Tsung killed him, they actually killed the clone.
Yeah.
Shao Kahn then snuck into the battlefield while Kitana and Goro's forces were fighting Kano and Noob Saibot's. And when Noob ganked Goro, Khan snuck up to Goro, healed him, and put his damaged clothes on the body of another Shokan that had been maimed so its face was unrecognizable, so it could pass for a decoy Goro. And then he and Goro snuck off. And Goro, because Shao Kahn had saved his life, was now grateful to him and decided, I will, forgive all the wrongs you've done to my species because me serving you, you're going to put my species back at the top of Outworld in your good graces again. And so the Shokan and Shao Kahn set out to take Outworld back, and they would take it back from Onaga because Shujinko and Nightwolf defeated Onaga, and there is no more Onaga. But
And this is all horrible because it paints Goro as treacherous, cowardly, duplicitous, and above all, dishonorable.
So not only does Goro pretend somebody else is him so that Katana's story in Deadly Alliance specifically says they held the funeral for Goro. They put the body in the ceremonial, like, golden casket that they lower in the lava at the palace. That, you know, Goro's dad was in attendance at this funeral. Goro was willing to let his people believe all that was him in order to work for Shao Kahn again.
Yeah.
And
It is one
and
of the
then
worst
in his
retcons
ending,
in all of MK.
in
It really
his
is.
ending, which doesn't come true, in Goro's ending, to prove his newfound loyalty to Khan, he kills Kitana, his closest fucking ally. But we don't need to talk about any of that, because here's the thing: Shao Kahn and Goro don't even do anything in Deception. Like, they don't take the palace back until the events of Armageddon. They're literally not part of the plot of Deception. So yeah, that's why I ignored the GameCube characters, because they don't actually do anything in the story.
Yeah.
It's all terrible.
I
It's
just
all
wanted to
just really
point out
terrible.
that Havoc's ending and the Cabal version, where before he can use the heart, Cabal stabs him and takes the heart for himself. Also funny, because Havoc's like, you got me. Did exactly what I would do. I'm proud of you.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. Good one. Chaos, baby.
And, well, obviously,
I love those endings, and I wish they were in some way canon.
Same.
and I think what happens after Sub-Zero goes to see
Yes.
chases after Noob and Smoke, but I guess we can cover that during Armageddon.
The last 2 points in this order of events after Onaga's defeat is Sub-Zero sees Noob and Smoke at Onaga's palace, like in the group with Shujinko stealing the powers or whatever. And he's like, that's my brother. Yeah, that's my best friend. I thought they were fucking dead. And so he follows them back to the Netherrealm. Like, they return home, and he goes after them. And we talked about this. We were talking about Serena in Deadly Alliance. Sub-Zero, when he goes to the Netherrealm to confront Noob and Smoke double team him, and they're gonna kill him.
But Serena saved him.
Serena has been following him in secret the entire game. If Hotaru had attacked, they didn't need Kenshi to be like, haha, I blind, your flash didn't work. Serena could have jumped out of the trees and killed Hotaru. She didn't have to. None of that the fight never happened, but she was there the whole time. And so she saves Sub-Zero from Noob and Smoke. Chases them off.
He's momentarily unconscious when this
he is
happens.
knocked out. He is knocked out, so
They're about to finish him off.
Yeah. And here's the thing: is that Serena, her powers work kind of like the Incredible Hulk. When she's, in a heated fight and her emotions, her blood gets up, she loses control of her human disguise and turns back into her true demon form. So when Sub-Zero wakes up, all he sees is a demon he doesn't recognize, and he gets ready for a fight. And Serena obviously doesn't want to fight him, so she just runs away.
Ah, monster! Oh god, it failed again.
Yeah. So Serena,
I guess we covered that in Armageddon, though.
Yeah, so
we can
talk about the rest of that in Armageddon.
But this is a good place to
It's important to Deception because it's taken from Noob Smoke's ending in Deception, is them ripping Sub-Zero in half in the Netherrealm. It's what would have happened if Serena wasn't there.
It's another case of the first half of the ending happens, the second doesn't.
Yes.
Very common, honestly.
And like I said, there were 2 things. The second thing that happens after Onaga's defeat is Raiden comes back to life.
That's Dark Raiden.
He's dark now.
Dun.
The premise, which isn't explained until Armageddon, is that when a god dies, or at least when they die the way Raiden did, where his essence is released into the ether, that essence will eventually return to the realm it's from and recollect. It'll go back to Earthrealm and be reborn as a new thunder god. He will reincarnate. And this is like traditional Buddhist reincarnation, where you live a new life. You're born as a baby, as a different person, and you don't remember who you were in your previous life. But because when Raiden died, he died standing next to Quan Chi and Shang Tsung, and the three of them's souls, like, kept fighting as they were passing to the afterlife. They were like wrestling with each other, and because they hate each other so much. And so some of like the energies, the soul particles that make up Quan Chi and Shang Tsung kind of got stuck to Raiden's. And so when he recollected his energies in Earthrealm and was reborn, there's a little bit of Shang and Quan inside him, the same way there's a little bit of that mummy inside Li Mei. And this caused him to, A, retain his memories and be the same Raiden he always was, even though he's reincarnated, and B, have a darker personality. So this new version of Raiden, who is technically still the same Raiden he always was, but tainted with evil, has, he's giving a good think about all the events that have happened, and he's like, I have been too lenient on the things that have attacked Earthrealm. That is why things have gotten so bad. I should just be killing everything. I should be showing no mercy. And by the way, the only reason that Onaga guy was there was because of Shujinko. Yeah, Shujinko cleaned up his mess, but there never would have been a mess to start with if not for that motherfucker. So I'm going to go kill him. Now, he never actually gets around to the killing him part. That's his arcade ending, and it doesn't completely happen. What does happen is that Dark Raiden goes, I can't do all this alone. I do need
an enforcer,
my allies. But
you know what? People are stupid.
Yeah. My human allies. Like, I really want to hang out with Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade still. I don't. Fuck those guys.
I'm going to protect the Earth.
Them. They're losers.
I'm going to protect the Earth, not so much its people.
Yeah. I'm done.
If I'm going to do this,
humans.
I need something that's going to like obey me without question.
Yes. So he resurrects the body of his greatest fighter, Liu Kang, who is recently deceased, as a mindless zombie that will follow his orders.
Night of the Living Liu.
Rotting undead hitman. So when Liu Kang's soul gets back to Earthrealm, it finds out about this. But it doesn't get a chance to do anything about it until Armageddon.
Well, the funny thing is, in Liu Kang's deception ending, you see he does get brought back to life, and I think you see Raiden. I think it's Raiden in the background.
Oh yeah, it's definitely. So here's the thing: is that deception doesn't say who raised Zombie Liu, but you can see in the picture that when Zombie Liu and Ghost Liu fight, and then somebody shoots them in the back to merge them back into one person, it's Raiden. So, like, they are hinting, hey, Raiden's responsible for all of this, but they don't say it outright until the Armageddon bios.
There are a few other bits of interest.
All right.
There are things that Unchained tells us.
Yeah.
Some of which are of import, others not so much.
I don't know. Can we cover that in Armageddon, possibly?
Yeah. Well, no, Unchained is a deception game.
Yeah, it is. Like, I know you want to go, but we'll make this quick. Jax's ending in Unchained has him somehow mysteriously freed because Onaga beats them all. But it just establishes that Jax is the angriest man in the universe as he punches Onaga and then rips his entire heart.
Yeah.
Stabs a Kamidogu into his head.
Jax's rage is so great for no reason that he's able to break free of the mind control on his own and kill Onaga with a Kamidogu. Like, he doesn't have to smash the Kamidogus. He stabs him with one, and he's so angry that he's strong enough to beat the invulnerability to do this.
That's obviously not.
No, this does not matter. The second ending in question for the new Unchained characters is Frost's.
Yeah.
So this requires Sub-Zero to have at some point brought Frost's body back to the Lin Kuei temple.
No,
that
here's
doesn't-
what it says.
Or some shit.
Here's what it says is that Frost eventually like thaws or breaks out of the ice block in the Cryomancer tomb.
What was it again?
Yes.
Right. She wakes up in his tomb, according to her bio. I'm forgetting shit because her story is so fucking convoluted across these two games.
Yeah.
She thinks she's in Outworld, realizes that she is, and starts wandering around, goes back to Earthrealm, and waits in hiding for Sub-Zero to come back.
She makes her way to the Lin Kuei temple, like she goes back home, but she's confused and pissed
She's
off.
delirious.
And when she gets there, like all of the Lin Kuei in the 3D era, the version of the Lin Kuei that Kuei Liang is the Grandmaster of, they all dress in blue because that's just what they do. She, like in her delusional state, thinks they're all Kuei Liang. Like every time she looks at one of them, she sees him and attacks and starts killing Lin Kuei. And so as she's like beating dudes in the, like the front hall of the Lin Kuei temple, Sub-Zero finally returns home from Outworld after his adventures fighting Tarkatans and helping defeat Onaga. He gets back to see her in the middle of a killing spree and puts her in a second block of ice. And that's the whole thing. And
she unfreezes, wanders back to Earthrealm, gets refrozen after murdering a lot of his goons.
Yeah, he's like, until I could figure out how to cure her dementia that she's, suffering from now, I'm just going to leave her in this block. I'm going to come back to it later. I'll figure it out another time. I'm busy.
And this is brought up again in Armageddon.
Yes, well, here's the thing, is that the entire reason this story was written is that Unchained came out after Armageddon did. And so they have to explain some plot holes that are in Armageddon. The main plot hole that's in Armageddon being, why is there a room in the Lin Kuei temple that looks like the Cryomancer tombs and has Frost in a block of ice in it? Because the Cryomancer tombs in the block of ice, last we heard, were supposed to be in Outworld.
Fucking whoops.
Yeah, I think it would have been way fucking smarter to just say Sub-Zero sent the Lin Kuei to the Cryomancer tombs because he's like, hey, can you guys bring back like all the, the suits of armor and Frost's body? Can we do like an archaeology thing to like, I'll set up like a trophy room here in the temple because I want to have all this like stuff close to me. That would have made a lot more sense than having her get out of the block of ice, walk home, and get put in a second block of ice.
Yeah. And lastly, we have Katana, Blaze and Katana have basically are the same, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Blaze's whole thing is just Deadly Alliance didn't tell us his deal, so now we're telling his deal because Armageddon's out and his deal now.
It's establishing his storyline properly. It reiterates what he is.
Yeah.
Tells us that he was ambushed by Holy Men. Hello, Hornbuckle, and he goes. He sounds the call, and the sleeping brother will soon awaken. Play Armageddon.
And he tells Katana, "You should be ready because a big fight's coming."
Yeah. As Katana is walking home from the fight with Onaga. She runs into Blaze, and Blaze warns her, hey, there's a war coming to Edenia. There's going to be another big apocalyptic event. And Katana's just like, oh my god, another one? This is like the seventh in so many years. And
she's basically having a bit of a nervous breakdown.
She like drops to one knee and starts fucking crying. She's like, it's too much. Can't handle it.
And Blaze
is like, oh, I gotta go now. Walks up into the forest, trailing fire from his footsteps as he walks through the wood. I'm sure that's safe.
Blaze is not a great character design. He's just Cinder from Killer Instinct in Stone Underpants. But the one thing I've always thought cool about him is that in every scene he's in, he leaves flaming footprints.
It is pretty badass.
But yeah, that's basically the whole thing.
Yeah, but obviously we didn't get much to elaborate on. From what we got, we didn't get too much about was happening with the good
No,
guys.
there is one interesting thing in
They went home.
Blaze's bio. It does say that the thing, like when it's talking about the mechanics of Armageddon, and like the problem is that there are too many warriors with magical powers, and if they fight each other at the same time, it'll tear apart reality. When it's talking about warriors with magical powers, it refers to them by the term
Ki-chow.
Ki-chow or
Ki-chow.
Ki-ko, like the word chaos or something. And the idea is so first of all, it kind of sounds like it's saying that that chi itself, like the powers in the human soul that give everybody magical abilities in the Mortal Kombat universe, is inherently a force of chaos that is bad for the fabric of reality. Like, people shouldn't be able to bend the forces of nature, but these fuckers be doing it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna Google that term. Have you Googled that term?
I don't think... The problem is, if you Google the word Chow or KO, you're gonna get the little creatures from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah.
No, this is the kind of thing that probably requires a lot of research to actually get at what they're talking. I feel like it's actually supposed to be a transliteration of some sort of foreign phrase. Maybe Chinese. I don't know.
Possibly.
I don't think it relates to chaos, personally.
I don't know. It kind of looks like it does to me. But I also kind of suspect that it's just Gogol just made it up on the spot.
It's ancient Edenian.
But it traces back to my theory that the reason people have superpowers is because souls are a piece of the one being, and so the one being is reality. That's how you can manipulate reality. But yeah, that's it's the closest we've ever gotten to that kind of world building, to really explaining like the fundamental origins. Because Deception is also the game that explained where the universe even came from, how it was created.
We covered that in the Conquest mode.
Yeah, we did. But yeah, that's all the characters.
So,
and that's the end of Deception.
Including the parts of them that didn't canonically happen, but fucking should have.
Yeah. Yeah, but, well, I guess next time we'll talk about Shaolin Monks, because actually that game is celebrating its 20th anniversary this month, I believe.
Do we have to?
I mean, we don't have to, but we could just, if we want to just do Armageddon, we could.
Chad, are you okay?
No. No one is okay. No one.
Okay, but what about the people who specifically have been stabbed through the head and thrown across a room? Are they okay?
Oh, right.
They could be. They might make it. We have to check.
No, I love.
Why does Shao Kahn have the amulet? How? Was he okay when he got it?
There is cut content that was recently discovered in Shaolin Monks that shows Sub-Zero was going to have the dragon medallion, and that you were going to be able to take it from him when you defeat him in the boss fight, and like it was going to give Kung Lao
oh my god,
stronger powers.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Shaolin Monks is a retelling of MK2.
So wait, were you going to kill Sub-Zero or something? Was that the plan?
No, you were just going to get the amulet off. He was going to have the dragon medallion, and you were going to fucking take it and get juiced up.
I feel like we've
just going to be like a gameplay buff or something. I don't know.
Fundamentally, I just feel like we've had the only discussion about Shaolin Monks' story that's worth happening, which is it's so dumb and so wrong.
It's so dumb.
Well,
it's so good. But it's so dumb. But it's so good.
Well, it's supposed to be a retelling of MK2, but it takes a lot of liberties with that.
It has almost nothing to do with MK2, honestly.
My mom, bless her soul, is a very religious person, and she has several Bibles. And one of my favorite things that she has is a comic book abbreviated picture Bible with terrible artwork and awful dialogue. Shaolin Monks is the picture Bible for MK2. I think that's all that needs to be said on my account for
I
today.
guess you can look at it that way.
Okay. So, do you guys think we'll actually do Armageddon in one video, or do you think we'll have to do multiple for that?
I think we'll do Armageddon in 10 minutes.
There's only what, 17 bios, but
We also have the conquest mode, but
yeah, and we are kind of long-winded.
Yeah.
I think we can do it in one.
It depends. Do you want me to spend half an hour talking about the entire bullshit version of events I made up behind the scenes to explain 60 characters worth of story that isn't in the game?
Well,
I actually think that
do
would
it.
be I think that would be a more entertaining conversation, honestly.
Well, I think as you said, apparently, as you said, at some point the discussion probably came, this game is here to kill everybody. Why are you giving them more story? Just kill them.
I feel like they deserve a little something before they go. Gosh.
I categorically reject the idea that they had to kill them.
I don't think that they needed to either, personally, but we'll talk about that next time when we get there.
Yeah, because Armageddon is I find the story behind its development more interesting than the actual story of the game.
I'm looking forward to that.
Because
I'm
if
looking
anything,
forward-
that's because I just expect when Long Live Mortal Kombat Round 2 comes out, that's the bit I want to see the most, the development of this game.
Oh, we all are. We all want to know how bad it was behind the scenes, because it had to have been bad in order for things to have turned out the way that they did.
Well, actually, you know what I'm expecting about that book? I'm expecting a lot of anonymous quotes about Sean Hemrick.
We'll see.
Because, yeah, the guy is kind of, how shall I say?
He has a reputation for being a bit of a frat boy.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
And that kind of, it's like, I heard they basically put him in charge of WB Games. It's like, yeah, that doesn't give me any hope things are going to change for the better over there.
All those who
Yes,
plan on raising, all those who plan on purchasing Injustice 3, raise your hand.
If I get that, I'd probably just get the definitive edition that will no doubt come out a year or two after it comes out.
I feel like a jerk that I keep bringing it up, but I'm still upset that I let the podcast talk me into getting Injustice 2. I want my money back.
I got it for free. I knew a dude who worked there.
Must be nice.
I want that time back, though.
Yeah. Do with more of that.
No. I'll just watch the story mode on YouTube or something when that comes out.
Well, the interesting thing about Injustice 2 story mode is that there are several chapters where you can actually pick your character between like two options, and it changes the cutscenes slightly because it's different for people giving different dialogue.
Yeah. But
I don't hate Injustice. I'm just not interested in it.
I love
worth...
the DC universe. I hate seeing that version of the DC universe because the costumes and the characterizations feel like they're bastardizations.
Well, and also, I'm just done with what if Superman was evil.
I mean, that is like the most like that is the first step of what's wrong with Injustice characters. Because he's not even the worst one. Injustice is really more about what if Wonder Woman was evil.
Oh yeah, I think a good phrase I've heard. She had none of Superman's motivation to turn evil, but did so anyway with twice the gusto.
Yeah, that's about right.
Because at least Superman's downfall is played for tragedy.
It's tragic right up until the point that he's murdering a child with heat vision through the brain.
Yeah. And
while plotting an attack on Metropolis, he orders Aquaman to destroy the city because his popularity is falling in the polls. That happens in Injustice 1, and people don't talk about that enough.
well, it's an oversimplification to call him evil, though.
Oh, yeah. Ed Boon insists he's not evil.
I'm having a great big stroke. Doo-dah, doo-dah.
Yeah, but I guess we could all talk about that next time.
Thank you.
Remember when Ed said like last week that they made the universe smaller in MK12 because it had gotten too big?
But then introduced multiverse.
Yeah, does he remember what happens in the last like 4 chapters?
Very selective memory, that man.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's the one who's had the stroke, and it happened a while ago.
Yeah. But speaking of Injustice 3, I think we'll talk briefly address. Apparently, there was a rumor that leaked, but that turned out to be false or something.
Well, Ed said they're making Injustice 3 when they announced MK12. People keep pretending he didn't say that, but he explicitly said, we are currently making Injustice 3, but it's going to take 7 years. We got it out MK faster.
Yeah.
There are voice actors who have recently come on and gone, hey, this dude I know says they're working on Injustice 3 or some shit.
But it's like, oh, goody.
Is the audience for a third Injustice even fucking there?
Well, here's the thing. Like you said, I think people are just sick of NetherRealm in general.
Like if they announced a game that was the DC universe and it just wasn't called Injustice and it wasn't that universe, it was regular superheroes, like it was the normal ass Justice League, I think that would do better, like by a surprising margin, sales wise.
Yeah. But it's not. And like I think it's just a case of also, like you say, Razor, I'm not seeing any indications that things are going to change for the better over there.
I see, when games like Marvel Tokon are announced, or
that's going to make Injustice 3 look really
people talking about like rivals, and it's a lot of the discussions about those games are about how nice their art styles look.
Yeah.
So when Injustice 3 comes out looking like an NRS game, and people are going to be comparing it to games that have these clean cartoon art styles that are so attractive, it's really going to be embarrassing in comparison. Like, it's not gonna be a good fight for them.
Yeah, I think Injustice 3 is doomed no matter what.
I think that the more time I spend thinking about Injustice 3, I could just as easily and more profitably spend time considering what's in my neighbor's bag of trash.
Yeah,
I do not care. I could spend time thinking about quantum physics. These things are equally meaningful to me.
We didn't need to be talking about Injustice. It's not really relevant to us and our interests.
Please stop trying to make me talk about Injustice. Please stop trying to make me talk about anything NetherRealm is doing right now. I don't care. It's done. It's finished. I'm done with it.
Anyway, but I guess we're done. So next time, I guess we'll do Armageddon in probably 2 weeks' time. Then we'll be done.
It'd be fun to talk about Shaolin monks. I don't know. We don't have to, but I could.
We can.
Maybe we can
I just don't know what there is to talk about for Shaolin monks.
Just how the funny.
It's wrong. We've done this multiple times. It's wrong. We've covered for years and years how wrong it is. It is wrongity wrongo. It can't get much more wrong. We gotta retread that ground.
I mean, it's rough, but it's like, I think it's a charming rough at this point. Like, Annihilation.
I suppose it's.
But
I don't know.
But I will concede that the purpose of these chats are to talk about like lore and continuity stuff. And it's a non-canon game that adds nothing of value except Kung Lao's personality has become a recurring part of the franchise.
That's it. Like it's an alternate telling of Mortal Kombat 2 that doesn't make a lot of sense no matter which way you slice it. It's not terribly important. There's nothing to dissect there.
It's fine. We can talk about Armageddon next time.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. My friend Nader is asking when he wants to go on the show. Oh, I'll invite you next time when we're talking in general. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
All right.
All right, well, we're getting off now, so we'll see you next time for Armageddon, and hopefully we'll see if we actually finish this little series, because who knows.
Yeah,
I'm not
we'll-
talking about anything after Armageddon. After Armageddon, I'm off the show. I'm not talking about
Yeah, I
DCU.
don't.
I'm not talking about 9. I'm not talking about X. I'm not talking about 11. And I'm sure diddly do as fuck not talking about whatever came afterwards. I'm finished.
Watch it after. Okay.
We are old timeline guys. That's what we know best. That's what we're the experts on. It's more difficult to.
Ow! Sorry, my cat's biting.
I figured.
What's her name? His name. Their name.
Hector.
Hector, I love you unconditionally. I don't know you. I've never seen you, but I'm a total cat person.
I sent you a picture of him in the chat, Discord chat.
I don't remember. I see so many cats every day.
He's an orange cat.
Ah, the curse of oranges.
Mm.
All right. Ow! Stop it.
This is hilarious.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Hector wins.
All right. Well, all right, guys. Thanks for joining me as usual. We'll see you next time.
yeah. See you later,
Have
nerds.
a nice day.
Stop.